Deep within a remote Chinese mountain lies a network of ancient metal pipes. Their true origin is a secret that has baffled experts for decades. This is the enduring enigma of the Baigong Pipes, one of history's most perplexing archaeological puzzles. By the end of this investigation, you will have all the evidence to decide for yourself what created them. We will explore a structure that looks like a pyramid and a trail of pipes leading to a saltwater lake. Who could have built something so complex in such a desolate place, and for what possible purpose? What does this mystery reveal about the hidden chapters of our own past? The discovery arrived not with a grand expedition, but as a quiet shock for a team of scientists in the late 1990s. Venturing into the remote and punishing landscape of Mount Baigong in Qinghai Province, they were studying one of the most isolated places on Earth. This is a region of stark, almost alien beauty, where the wind carves the rock into strange shapes and the silence feels immense and ancient. It is the last place you would expect to find anything made by human hands, let alone a complex technological artifact. Yet there it was, a structure so out of place it defied immediate explanation. They found a crumbling, pyramid-like form, its angles softened by millennia of erosion, but its geometric intention still clear against the raw mountain. And within it, they did not find simple pottery shards or stone tools. They found a network of metal pipes, integrated directly into the rock itself. These were not scattered fragments of lost junk. They formed a deliberate system, with pipes of varying diameters running deep into the mountain's heart, while others were traced leading directly to the briny waters of a nearby saltwater lake. This was not a random collection of objects. It was the architecture of a purpose, a sophisticated construction project of unknown origin, abandoned in a land that has never had a history of such advanced industry. The pipes themselves were a study in contradictions. Ranging from the width of a toothpick to an immense 16 inches in diameter, they were embedded directly into the solid rock of the mountain, as if the stone had grown around them. Their surfaces were rough and rusty, a testament to their incredible age, and initial analysis confirmed they were primarily composed of iron, but this was no ordinary scrap. Samples taken from the site revealed a sophisticated composition, with the iron making up over 30% of the material, alongside significant amounts of silicon dioxide and calcium oxide. This was not a simple, primitive forged product. It was a complex, manufactured alloy, and it was fused into geology that itself was dated to be millions of years old. The arrangement was what truly baffled observers. The pipes were not scattered randomly. They formed a deliberate, almost architectural pattern, with lines running in parallel and smaller tubes branching off from larger central conduits. It was a system, a network with a clear, if now lost, purpose. One set of pipes dove straight down into the earth, vanishing into the mountain's dark interior. Another trail was meticulously traced, leading horizontally from the pyramid structure all the way to the shore of Tasin Lake, the nearby saltwater lake. The immediate, staggering question was simple. What human civilization could have possibly done this? The recorded history of the region shows no evidence of an industrial society capable of such advanced metallurgy and construction. These pipes were not just old. They appeared to be ancient on a geological timescale, a relic from a time before human civilization as we know it even began. So who built them, and what were they designed to carry from the heart of the mountain to the water? The scientific analysis of these pipes only deepened the mystery. When researchers took samples back to the lab, they were met with a chemical profile that made no sense for any known ancient artifact. The composition was about 30% iron oxide, which you would expect, but over half of the material was silicon dioxide, the main component of sand and glass. This high silica content suggested a manufacturing process far beyond simple iron smelting, one that intentionally created a durable, rust-resistant alloy. Even more puzzling was that roughly 8% of the material defied identification. It was simply an unknown substance, a ghost in the machine that refused to be categorized. How could a civilization advanced enough to produce such a sophisticated composite leave no other trace in the historical record? Then came the dating attempts. which delivered the most staggering blow to conventional understanding. Analysis of the rock layers surrounding the pipes pointed to an age that was not just historical, but geological. Some estimates suggested these structures could be up to 150,000 years old. This number is a profound problem. According to everything we know, at that point in prehistory, humanity's most advanced members were nomadic hunter-gatherers, just beginning to use stone tools. They were not smelting metal, let alone fabricating complex pipe systems integrated into mountains. The technological gap is incomprehensible. The level of smelting and engineering required to create the Baigong Pipes implies a settled, industrial society, one that simply should not have existed. This single finding places a tangible, physical object squarely in a timeline where it does not belong, forcing us to confront a very uncomfortable question. If it was not us, then who or what was building with such advanced technology so long ago? Faced with such an impossible object, one theory has risen to dominate the conversation. The ancient astronaut hypothesis suggests the Baigong Pipes are not a human creation at all, but the physical remains of an extraterrestrial visitation. Proponents point to a compelling trifecta of evidence. First is the impossible age, placing the pipes in an era when human technology was primitive beyond comparison. Second is the remote, desolate location, a spot that would be ideal for an off-world base, far from prying eyes and easily concealed. Why else build something so advanced in a place so utterly inhospitable to human settlement? And third is the sheer technological leap the pipes represent, a feat of engineering that seems to materialize from nowhere, with no preceding evolution or subsequent development found in the archaeological record. This idea was powerfully popularized in the 20th century, weaving the pipes into a global tapestry of similar anomalies known as out-of-place artifacts, or OOP arts. From the intricate Antikythera mechanism found in a Greek shipwreck to the mysterious stone spheres of Costa Rica, these objects all share a common thread. They appear too advanced, too complex, or too old to belong to the cultures they are found with. For many, the Baigong Pipes stand as the ultimate OOP art, a piece of industrial plumbing that firmly places an advanced, non-human technology on our planet in the distant past. The cultural impact of this idea is immense, fueling books, documentaries, and a profound reimagining of human history itself. It offers a tantalizing narrative that our planet was once a destination for star-faring travelers, and that we are merely the latest inhabitants to walk among their forgotten ruins. But is this the only explanation that fits the bizarre facts, or are we overlooking a more terrestrial, yet equally astonishing, possibility hidden in plain sight? But perhaps the architects were not visitors from the stars, but from our own forgotten past. This alternative theory proposes a lost chapter in human history, a sophisticated civilization that rose to technological brilliance and then collapsed so completely that only the Baigong Pipes remain. Imagine a culture, a mother culture, that achieved an industrial level long before any known society, only to be wiped out by a cataclysm, its cities and people swallowed by time, leaving behind a single, stubborn relic. This idea of a pre-Diluvian world, an advanced society erased by a great flood or some other global disaster, is a powerful and recurring myth in many cultures. The Baigong Pipes could be the physical proof that these stories are based in truth, the sole surviving machinery of a world that existed before our own. It is a hauntingly beautiful notion that human ingenuity has flickered into brilliance before, only to be extinguished and forgotten. Yet for all its narrative appeal, this theory faces a monumental and very practical problem. Where is everything else? An industrial society capable of such metallurgy and construction would have needed mines for its ore, foundries for its smelting, settlements for its workers, and a vast infrastructure to support it all. Such a civilization would have left a staggering archaeological footprint across the landscape, not just one isolated network of pipes, yet no other evidence of this culture has ever been found in the region. No pottery, no tools, no foundations of buildings, and no burial sites. The pipes exist in total technological isolation, a single, impossibly advanced data point in a sea of silence. This is the core flaw in the lost civilization theory. An advanced society does not simply build one thing in one place. Its influence spreads, its trash accumulates, and its people leave marks. The Baigong Pipes stand alone, a monument without a city, a machine without a maker. This profound lack of corroborating evidence forces us to ask a difficult question. Could a civilization truly vanish without leaving a single trace beyond one mysterious construction project? Or does the very solitude of the pipes point toward an origin that is even more extraordinary? Yet another possibility lies not in forgotten hands, but in the slow, patient work of the Earth itself. Skeptical scientists propose a far more down-to-earth explanation, arguing the Baigong Pipes are not pipes at all, but a spectacular example of a natural geological phenomenon. The leading candidate is a process that creates fossilized tree roots or iron oxide concretions. Imagine mineral-rich water, perhaps from a long-vanished ancient lake, seeping through deep fissures in the rock. Over millions of years, the iron and silica dissolved in that water could have slowly precipitated out, crystallizing along the path of the water flow. Just as a stalactite builds downwards from a cave ceiling, these minerals could have built tube-like structures within the mountain's fractures, creating hollow, pipe-like forms that are, in reality, nothing more than incredibly intricate mineral veins. This process would naturally account for the high iron and silicon dioxide content found in the samples, materials that are abundant in the Earth's crust and commonly deposited by flowing water. The varying diameters and branching patterns could simply mirror the original network of cracks and root systems that the mineralizing water followed. There are other documented examples of such formations around the world. In the Badlands of North America, for instance, visitors can find astonishingly pipe-like iron concretions poking from the earth, often called hoodoo pipes or sandstone pipes. These natural structures form through a similar chemical process and can look deceptively manufactured. So, does this theory finally solve the mystery? It elegantly explains the chemical composition and integrates the pipes into a known, if rare, geological timeline, but it struggles with the sheer scale and organization of the Baigong system. The pipes are not just random tubes, they appear to form a coherent network, with lines running in parallel and a clear trail leading to the saltwater lake. Furthermore, the idea that a natural process could create such a complex, structured system, complete with what appears to be deliberate placement from a pyramid-like formation to a water source, stretches the limits of geological coincidence. Is this a case of our brains seeing patterns where none exist, imposing design on a natural wonder? Or is the design itself simply too perfect to be an accident of nature? The debate between a miraculous natural event and a deliberate, intelligent creation remains fiercely unresolved. The theory of a natural geological formation seems to tidy up the mystery, but a closer look reveals significant cracks in this explanation. While iron concretions do exist, the specific chemical recipe of the Baigong Pipes does not match a simple, natural process. The extremely high silicon dioxide content, over half the material, is a major red flag. Natural iron pipes or tree root casts are primarily iron oxide. They do not typically incorporate such a large, deliberate-seeming percentage of silica, a component that would make the resulting alloy harder and more resistant to corrosion. This looks less like a random mineral deposit and more like a sophisticated, intentional mix. Then there is the ghost in the machine, that unknown 8% of the material that defies categorization. A natural process uses elements and compounds we know from the periodic table. It does not leave behind a significant portion of unidentifiable substance. This single fact alone points toward a manufacturing origin, a technology that utilized materials or processes we do not yet fully understand. Beyond the chemistry, the physical layout of the pipes presents an even greater challenge to the natural theory. These are not a chaotic jumble of tubes scattered by random chance. They display a clear, organized system. Multiple pipes run in parallel, maintaining consistent spacing. Smaller tubes branch off from larger main conduits in a logical, almost dendritic pattern that suggests a distribution network. Most tellingly, there is that distinct trail of pipes leading directly from the pyramid-like structure to the saltwater lake.
What natural process could possibly create a straight, purposeful line from a specific architectural form to a specific body of water? Nature creates fractals and meandering paths, not what appears to be a planned pipeline. Many geologists who have studied the case remain deeply skeptical. In interviews, they point out that while nature can create tube-like shapes, it almost never produces such a complex, interconnected, and symmetrical system. The level of order and repetition seen in the Baigong network is anathema to the random, chaotic forces of geology. It is the difference between a single, wind-sculpted arch in the desert and the blueprint for an entire city's plumbing. One is a beautiful accident, the other is the unmistakable signature of a guiding intelligence. So if the geological explanation crumbles under this scrutiny, and the lost civilization theory lacks any supporting evidence, where does that leave us? We are forced to circle back to that most profound and unsettling possibility, that the answer lies not in our world's known history, but somewhere far beyond it. The true builders may have left more than just their pipes behind. They may have left a clue etched into the very landscape and the myths of the people who came after them. Long before scientists arrived with their equipment, the local Tibetan and Mongol nomads knew the mountain held a secret. Their oral traditions, passed down through countless generations, speak of a time when gods descended from the heavens. These celestial beings, known in some tales as the sons of heaven, were said to have built immense and strange structures within the mountains, forms that were angular and unnatural against the smooth curves of the landscape. The stories describe these gods as towering figures, giants who moved with purpose and wielded tools that could shape solid rock. They did not build cities or palaces, but rather singular, enigmatic constructions deep within the most remote and inaccessible places. For the nomadic herders who have always lived in the region's vast, open spaces, Mount Baigong was not just a mountain, it was a sacred site, a place touched by forces from beyond the sky. These legends were not mere fantasy to them, they were a fundamental part of their understanding of the world, a historical record etched not in stone, but in memory. The descriptions of these god-built structures bear a striking, almost one-to-one resemblance to the very pyramid and pipe system that confounds modern investigators. It is as if the oral tradition preserved a core memory of an event so monumental, so technologically inexplicable to the people who witnessed it, that the only possible explanation was divine intervention. The nomads did not have a word for extraterrestrial engineers, so they called them gods. They did not understand advanced metallurgy, so they saw it as magic. This raises a profound possibility. Could these ancient stories be a distorted, mythological account of the pipe's actual construction, a genuine sighting of the builders and their work preserved across millennia? The field of geomythology explores exactly this, studying how oral traditions often contain surprisingly accurate records of real geological events, from volcanic eruptions to major earthquakes, that occurred thousands of years ago. The stories are not literal histories, but they are built upon a foundation of truth, a kernel of a real event that becomes wrapped in the cultural and spiritual understanding of the people who experienced it. If a nomadic tribe witnessed the creation of the Baigong Pipes by a technologically advanced group, whether human or otherwise, how else would they describe it but as the work of sky gods? The legends provide no blueprints or technical manuals, but they offer something perhaps even more valuable, a witness statement from the distant past. They tell us that someone or something was here long ago, and they were building something incredible. This narrative thread, woven from myth and memory, does not exist in a vacuum. It connects to a much larger and more unsettling pattern found all across the globe, a pattern that suggests we may be missing a fundamental chapter in the story of our own world. Rising from the desolate flank of Mount Baigong, the pyramid structure is the undeniable heart of this mystery. Its form is not the smooth perfection of Giza, but a massive, three-sided edifice, its terrace levels heavily weathered and slumped by untold ages. The harsh winds of the plateau have carved its sandstone into soft, rounded edges, yet the underlying geometry remains stubbornly clear. This is not a random pile of rubble. It is a stepped, triangular monolith that feels deliberately placed, a stark, angular silhouette against an otherwise fluid landscape. The central question is whether this is a spectacular accident of nature or the eroded ruin of something built. Could millions of years of wind and water erosion alone sculpt such a distinctly pyramidal shape with such symmetrical sides? Or are we looking at the skeletal remains of a constructed platform, its original facing stones long since collapsed into the surrounding scree? The very fact that this debate exists at all is telling, for nature rarely produces such clean, repetitive angles without some form of intelligent intervention. But the true proof of its purpose lies not in its external shape, but in what it contains. The metal pipes are not simply lying near this structure, they are integrated directly into its core, emerging from its interior walls and diving deep into its foundation. This changes everything. It suggests the pyramid was not just a marker or a temple, but a functional piece of architecture, the central hub of a vast and complex system. Imagine it not as a tomb, but as a pumping station, or a control center, or a housing for some unknown machinery. The pipes that run from it to the saltwater lake act like arteries, connecting this heart to a vital resource. This transforms the site from a collection of strange pipes into the ruins of a single, sophisticated facility. The pyramid provides a focal point, a deliberate architectural anchor that gives the entire network a sense of order and intention. It implies that the pipes are just one visible part of a much larger, mostly buried complex, a technological installation whose true scale and function are still hidden beneath the mountain. If this crumbling pyramid is indeed a constructed building, then we are not just looking at an out-of-place artifact. We are looking at the ruins of an out-of-place civilization. The trail of pipes leading from the pyramid does not wander aimlessly into the wilderness. It carves a deliberate path straight to the briny shore of Tassin Lake, a vast inland sea whose waters are heavy with salt. This was no accidental terminus. Explorations along the lake's edge revealed something even more astonishing, pipe openings emerging directly from the sediment on the beach. And the trail did not end there. When investigators looked beneath the lake's surface, they found more of these metallic tubes, their mouths open to the water, as if the system was designed to draw from the lake, or perhaps discharge into it. This critical connection transforms the entire site from a standalone mystery into an integrated facility, a machine with a clear and vital relationship to a water source. But for what purpose? Was this an ancient industrial-scale plumbing network, perhaps designed to pump saline water for processing? Salt was a precious commodity in antiquity, essential for preserving food, and a complex extraction facility could explain the need for such advanced engineering. Yet the sheer technological overkill is baffling. Why build a million-year-old plumbing system of such sophistication for a task that simpler methods could achieve? Another possibility is that the water was not the product, but a coolant. Imagine some form of powerful, advanced machinery housed within the pyramid, generating immense heat that required a constant flow of water to regulate its temperature. The salt water of Tassin Lake, while corrosive, has a high thermal capacity, making it an effective, if harsh, cooling agent. This theory paints a picture of the pyramid not as a silent tomb, but as a throbbing, active engine room, its pipes humming with circulating fluid to cool a technology we can scarcely imagine. Then there are the more esoteric ideas that the pipes were not carrying water at all, but energy. Some researchers have speculated they could have acted as a giant grounding system or a conduit for tapping into telluric, or earth, currents, using the conductive salt water as a vast reservoir or a component in a planetary energy grid. The saltwater environment itself presents a major puzzle. Any engineer knows that saltwater is brutally corrosive to iron. It accelerates rust and decay at a phenomenal rate. So why would any builder, no matter how advanced, choose to pump such a destructive substance through an iron-based pipe system? There are only two logical answers. Either the builders possessed a corrosion-resistant technology or coating that has since degraded away, leaving the raw iron we see today, or the system was not intended for long-term use. It was a temporary installation, used for a brief, intense period and then abandoned, its purpose fulfilled long before the salt could eat completely through the metal. This lake connection is the master key to the entire enigma. For the purpose of the water defines the purpose of the pyramid itself. Was it a practical industrial plant, a life support system for alien machinery, or the heart of a power source that tapped into the very energy of the Earth? The answer lies buried in the mud at the bottom of that salt lake, waiting to be found. Reaching Mount Baigong is a challenge that has turned back all but the most determined investigators. The journey itself is a gauntlet, a trek across a high-altitude desert plateau where the air is thin and the weather shifts from searing sun to biting cold without warning. This is not a place for casual tourism. The sheer remoteness has acted as a natural lock, preserving the site but also preventing the kind of sustained, large-scale archaeological investigation it truly deserves. Compounding the physical hardship are layers of political and bureaucratic sensitivity. The region is closely monitored, and gaining official permission for invasive testing or excavation is notoriously difficult. This has created a strange dichotomy, where one of the world's greatest mysteries sits largely untouched by mainstream science, left instead to a series of small, privately funded expeditions that operate on the fringes. These intrepid groups, often composed of enthusiasts, documentary filmmakers, and independent researchers, have become the primary source of new information in the 21st century. They brave the elements not with massive government grants, but with personal determination and handheld cameras, their findings trickling out to the world in grainy footage and first-hand accounts. Their efforts have provided us with a clearer, though still incomplete, picture. High-resolution photographs and drone footage have finally given us a comprehensive view of the pyramid's scale and its relationship to the pipe network. We can now see how the pipes are not just clustered in one area, but spread across a significant portion of the mountainside, suggesting the system is far more extensive than initially thought. Close-up images of the pipe interiors show smooth, almost machined-looking surfaces in some sections, a stark contrast to the heavily rusted exteriors. One team even managed to extract a new core sample from a pipe fragment not previously tested, and while the results were never officially published in a peer-reviewed journal, the analysts claimed it confirmed the anomalous high silica composition and the presence of that stubborn, unidentifiable material. Yet for every new piece of evidence, a dozen questions arise. The samples are too small, the testing too limited, the photographic evidence too open to interpretation. Why has there not been a major, internationally backed scientific mission? The answer lies in that perfect storm of obstacles, the remote location, the political hurdles, and the sheer strangeness of the site itself, which pushes it to the edges of conventional archaeology. The mystery of the Baigong Pipes persists not for a lack of interest, but for a lack of access. They remain tantalizingly out of reach, a puzzle box waiting in the mountains for someone with the right key to finally open it. Official recognition of the Baigong Pipes adds another intricate layer to the puzzle. The Chinese government has taken the extraordinary step of designating the area around Mount Baigong as an official tourist attraction, specifically labeling it an alien archaeological site. Visitors can now follow marked paths to see the pyramid and the protruding pipes, with informational signs that openly discuss the extraterrestrial hypothesis. This state-sanctioned embrace of the otherworldly narrative is a powerful and deliberate act. It fuels public fascination and draws curious travelers to this remote corner of the country, providing a significant boost to local economies that otherwise have little to offer. Yet this promotion of the alien theory exists in stark contrast to the government's handling of the scientific data. There has been no large-scale, state-funded excavation, no comprehensive peer-reviewed study published in international journals, and no open invitation for the world's top archaeologists and geologists to conduct their own independent analysis. The most compelling evidence remains locked away, accessible only through leaks, rumors, and the work of small, independent teams. This creates a fascinating contradiction: a government that publicly champions a fringe theory while privately withholding the rigorous science that could either prove or disprove it. So what explains this dual approach? The simplest answer is economic. An unsolved mystery is a perpetual tourism engine. A definitive scientific explanation, especially a mundane geological one, would shatter the allure and likely cause visitor numbers to plummet. By maintaining the enigma, The government ensures a steady stream of tourism revenue. But there is a more profound possibility to consider. What if the initial, confidential government analyses revealed something so anomalous, so potentially disruptive to our understanding of history, that a decision was made to control the narrative? Promoting the alien idea as a tourist attraction effectively packages the mystery into a safe, commercially viable story. It satisfies public curiosity without ever having to release data that could fundamentally challenge established historical and scientific paradigms. This strategy of managing a potentially paradigm-shifting discovery by turning it into a spectacle is not without precedent. It allows authorities to acknowledge the site's strangeness without committing to a scientifically risky position. They can monitor all research and control all access, ensuring that any future revelations are managed on their terms. The result is that the Baigong Pipes remain in a state of suspended animation, caught between the compelling official story of ancient astronauts and the silent, unyielding stone, which may hold a truth far more extraordinary than any tourist brochure could ever contain. The Baigong Pipes are not a singular anomaly, but part of a global chorus of ancient whispers. Scattered across the planet are objects and sites that defy easy explanation, each one a piece of a puzzle we are still learning how to assemble. Consider the Antikythera mechanism, a complex bronze gearwork device recovered from a 2,000-year-old Greek shipwreck. It has been called the world's first analog computer, capable of predicting planetary movements and eclipses with stunning accuracy. The technological leap it represents is so vast that it stands completely alone in the historical record, with no known precursors or successors. It is a flash of genius that appears and then vanishes for over a millennium. Similarly, the perfectly spherical stone balls of Costa Rica, some weighing over 16 tons, were carved with such precision that their purpose and the methods used to create them remain a complete mystery. How did ancient people achieve such flawless geometry and symmetry without modern tools? Then there are the Nazca lines of Peru, enormous geoglyphs etched into the desert floor, so large they can only be fully appreciated from the air. They depict animals, plants, and geometric shapes, and their creation required sophisticated surveying techniques and a massive, coordinated effort. Yet their ultimate purpose, whether astronomical calendar, religious pathway, or something else entirely, is still hotly debated. What connects these disparate wonders to the pipes in China? They all represent a profound disconnect. In each case, the object or site displays a level of technological or organizational sophistication that seems to leapfrog the known capabilities of the culture it is attributed to. They are all outliers, data points that do not fit comfortably on the timeline of human progress as we currently understand it. This pattern forces a recurring and uncomfortable question. Were these the rare, isolated masterpieces of ancient human genius, brilliant one-off inventions that were lost to time? Or do they point to a different narrative entirely, one that involves outside influence, forgotten advanced cultures, or a history of human development that is far more complex and mysterious than our textbooks allow? The debate they spark is always the same, a tug-of-war between mainstream archaeology, which seeks to fit them into an existing human framework, and alternative history, which sees them as evidence of something more. The Baigong Pipes are perhaps the most extreme example of this conflict, a piece of industrial machinery seemingly planted in a geological era before humans walked the earth. They force us to look at all these mysteries not as separate curiosities, but as potential chapters in the same untold story. This unknown 8% of the pipe's composition is the silent key to the entire mystery. We are not dealing with a simple impurity or a common contaminant. In any standard metallurgical analysis, scientists expect to identify nearly 100% of a sample's makeup using modern spectrometry. The presence of such a significant portion of unidentifiable substance is not just unusual. It is a glaring red flag that points toward a technology operating outside our established understanding of materials. This is not a case of missing data. It is a case of confronting something we do not have a category for. So what could this ghost material possibly be? One compelling possibility is that it represents a unique, advanced alloy, a recipe that was known to its creators but has been utterly lost to time. Think of it as a form of ancient supersteel. Modern metallurgy often adds specific elements like chromium or nickel to iron to create stainless steel or other specialized alloys with properties far superior to basic iron. The builders of the Baigong Pipes may have been doing something similar, but with a material science so sophisticated that we cannot yet reverse engineer their formula. This unknown 8% could be the active ingredient, the component that gave the pipes their legendary durability, perhaps making them resistant to the corrosive saltwater they were designed to carry. If this is the case, the implications for ancient human history are staggering. It would mean that a civilization, long before our own, had not only mastered iron smelting, but had progressed into the realm of advanced materials engineering, creating composite metals tailored for specific, demanding environments. This was not primitive toolmaking. This was high-tech industry on a level we would not see again for millennia. Another, more profound, explanation is that the 8% is a material not naturally found on Earth. Its atomic structure, or isotopic ratio, could be anomalous, suggesting an extraterrestrial origin, perhaps a component of a spacecraft or a technology that utilized elements forged in a distant star. This would immediately explain why our laboratories cannot pin it down. We are simply not looking at something that belongs to our planet's natural periodic table. The very existence of this unidentifiable substance forces us to widen the scope of our investigation far beyond terrestrial history and human capability. It stands as a tangible, physical clue that the builders, whoever they were, possessed a knowledge of matter itself that we are only beginning to grasp. The pipes are not just a structural mystery, they are a locked box of materials science, and we have not yet found the key to open it. The dating of the Baigong Pipes is a battlefield of science, where every method tells a different story and every result sparks a firestorm of debate. To understand the age of the pipes themselves, researchers first had to date the rock that encases them. Using techniques like thermoluminescence, which measures the accumulated radiation in minerals like quartz since they were last heated or exposed to sunlight, scientists analyzed the sandstone matrix. The results pointed to a formation date measured in millions of years, suggesting the pipes were integrated into this ancient geology. But this only tells us when the rock formed, not when the pipes were inserted. The true controversy erupted when other methods were applied to materials directly associated with the pipes. Radiocarbon dating, which measures the decay of carbon-14 inorganic matter, was attempted on minute traces of plant material and sediments found within the pipe openings. Some of these organic samples yielded dates that were shockingly old, with one analysis pushing towards 150,000 years. This number is the heart of the storm. It is not just an academic disagreement, it is a direct challenge to the foundation of human history. 150,000 years ago, our species, Homo sapiens, was just beginning its journey out of Africa. Our most advanced technology was the carefully shaped hand axe. We were nomadic hunter-gatherers, living in small bands and surviving with stone tools. The idea that anyone, anywhere, was smelting iron and constructing a complex, integrated pipe system at that time is not just unlikely. It is considered impossible by every established model of human progress. This single date threatens to tear a hole in the timeline we have so carefully constructed. If it is correct, then our entire understanding of technological evolution is wrong, and a sophisticated industrial society must have risen and fallen in a prehistory we know nothing about. Skeptics, however, fiercely contest these findings. They argue that the organic material tested could have been contaminated by older carbon from the surrounding ancient rock, or that the samples were not truly sealed inside the pipes, but were simply deposited there much later by wind or water. They point to other, more conservative analyses that suggest a much younger age, perhaps only a few thousand years, which would place the pipes within the realm of known, if mysterious, ancient human cultures. Yet even this younger date presents problems, as no known civilization in the region at that time possessed the required metallurgical knowledge. So we are left with a scientific impasse, a clash of data where the most extraordinary claim carries the most extraordinary evidence, an evidence that remains just out of reach, trapped between conflicting tests and the silent, enduring stone. So we are left with a silent, rusting machine whose purpose has been completely erased. The pipes run from a pyramid, dive into a mountain, and connect to a salt lake, forming a closed loop of pure mystery. What was this system actually designed to do? Let us systematically walk through the possibilities, weighing each one against the stubborn physical evidence. The most straightforward idea is that it was a complex plumbing system, perhaps for an underground facility hidden within Mount Baigong. The pipes could have delivered fresh water to a subterranean base or carried away waste. The connection to Tassin Lake supports this, but the salt water creates a major complication. Why plumb a corrosive, undrinkable brine into your facility? This only makes sense if the inhabitants required salt water specifically, perhaps for a unique biological need or an industrial process we cannot fathom. A related theory suggests ventilation, with the larger pipes acting as air shafts to circulate atmosphere deep underground. The branching, dendritic pattern fits this model well, mimicking modern ventilation systems. Yet the high silica content in the pipes seems like technological overkill for simple air ducts, unless they were also designed to withstand immense pressure, heat, or even some form of chemical corrosion we have not considered. Then there is the energy generator hypothesis. Could the pyramid have housed a massive power plant, using the thermal difference between the mountain's core and the lake's surface to create energy? The pipes would then be the circulatory system, pumping a working fluid in a continuous loop to drive some form of ancient engine. The unidentifiable 8% of the pipe's composition could be a crucial element in this process, a catalyst or a superconducting material that made the entire reaction possible. This theory elegantly explains the need for such advanced, specialized materials and the connection to both a heat source and a coolant reservoir. Alternatively, perhaps the pipes were not for moving liquid at all, but for conducting energy itself. They might have formed a giant electrical circuit, using the conductive saltwater of the lake as a grounding point or a battery. The entire structure could have been designed to tap into telluric currents, the natural flows of electrical charge that move through the Earth's crust. The pyramid, acting as a focal point or an amplifier, would channel this planetary energy through the metallic network for an unknown purpose. This could explain the remote location, chosen for a unique geological energy signature rather than for convenience. A more architectural theory posits that the pipes were structural supports for a vast building complex that has since crumbled to dust. The high silica iron alloy would have provided exceptional tensile strength, acting as a reinforcement grid within the stone. Yet this seems unlikely given the specific trail to the lake. Why run structural supports in a straight line to a body of water? That particular feature screams of a functional connection, not a static architectural one. Finally, we have the astronomical observatory idea. Could the pipes have been aligned with celestial bodies, channeling light, or even some other form of energy, for observation or ritual? While the pyramid's orientation might hold clues, the pipes themselves, especially those diving into the earth and leading to water, do not fit the clean profile of an astronomical instrument. Each theory shines a different light on the puzzle, but each also casts a long shadow of doubt. Plumbing fails on the saltwater problem. Ventilation seems too simple. Energy generation is compelling but purely speculative. The true function remains locked away, a secret held by the mountain, leaving us to wonder if the answer is something we have not yet even dreamed of. Every great mystery eventually faces the accusation of being a clever fake. Could the entire spectacle of the Baigong Pipes be an elaborate hoax, a 20th century construction designed to fool the world? The motives for such a deception seem clear at first glance. A fabricated ancient wonder could bring fame and fortune to a remote, economically depressed region. By creating an alien archaeological site, local officials could guarantee a steady stream of curious tourists, generating revenue from a landscape that offers little else. The official promotion of the site as an extraterrestrial attraction certainly fuels this suspicion, making the entire endeavor feel like a well-staged theme park rather than a genuine archaeological find. A more cynical motive would be scientific fraud, an attempt by a researcher or group to gain notoriety by planting impossible evidence and then revealing its discovery. Yet this theory begins to fray when we examine the sheer scale of the operation. Fabricating a hoax of this magnitude would be a monumental undertaking. We are not talking about a few metal rods hammered into a rock face. This is an integrated network of pipes, some nearly 1.5 feet wide, fused into solid rock and stretching from a pyramid-like structure to a saltwater lake over a significant distance. The logistics are staggering. To pull this off, a hoaxer would need to secretly move heavy industrial equipment and tons of metal into one of the most remote and inhospitable places in China, all without being detected. They would then need to somehow embed these pipes into million-year-old rock with such perfection that they appear geologically integrated, a feat of engineering in itself. They would have to create a unique, complex alloy with an unidentifiable component, and then artificially age everything to withstand the scrutiny of chemical and geological analysis. The cost, manpower, and technical expertise required would be immense, far beyond the resources of a typical fraudster or even a small local government. Furthermore, the initial discovery was made by a team of scientists conducting legitimate research, not by promoters looking to create an attraction. While some data has been leaked or remains unpublished, reputable geologists who have visited the site have confirmed the pipe's anomalous composition and their deep integration with the native rock. A hoax would require the silent complicity of dozens of experts over decades, all maintaining a perfect conspiracy of silence. The simplest questions become the most difficult for the hoax theory to answer. Why go to such incredible lengths for a local tourist trap when a much simpler fake would suffice? Why choose a location so remote that hardly anyone would ever see it? And most importantly, how could anyone have created a metal alloy that still, with modern technology, contains a portion of material that our labs cannot identify? The hoax theory asks us to believe in a cover-up of such complexity and perfection that it becomes, in its own way, more far-fetched than the possibility of a genuine ancient mystery. While skepticism is always a healthy scientific tool, the evidence on the ground points away from a human forgery and towards something much, much older. The enigma of the Baigong Pipes has long since escaped the confines of academic debate, spilling over into the vibrant landscape of global popular culture. It has become a staple subject for television documentaries, which present the rusted pipes and crumbling pyramid to millions of viewers, each program framing the mystery through its own lens of ancient astronauts or lost civilizations. Countless books have been written, weaving intricate theories that connect the pipes to everything from Atlantis to interstellar mining operations. Online, dedicated forums buzz with activity, where amateur sleuths and professional researchers alike dissect every new photograph and analyze every leaked data point, building a digital tapestry of collective curiosity. The mystery is no longer just an archaeological puzzle, it is a shared story, a modern myth in the making. This cultural fascination has been harnessed with remarkable efficiency on the ground. The journey to Mount Baigong, once a grueling trek for the most determined explorers, is now a marked path. The Chinese government has officially developed the area into a tourist attraction, complete with viewing platforms and informational signs. These signs do not present a dry, academic overview. They boldly and explicitly discuss the extraterrestrial hypothesis, inviting visitors to stand on this very spot and consider the possibility that they are walking through an alien archaeological site. The local economy, which once relied on traditional herding in a harsh environment, has been fundamentally transformed. A small industry has sprung up around the mystery, with local guides offering tours, vendors selling souvenirs and models of the pipes, and nearby towns benefiting from the influx of travelers drawn by the promise of the unknown. The mystery itself has become the region's most valuable export, a commodity more lucrative than any mineral or crop the land could yield. This creates a fascinating symbiosis, where the very lack of a definitive answer fuels a perpetual economic engine. A conclusive scientific explanation, especially a mundane geological one, would likely cause visitor numbers to plummet. The unresolved question is what gives the site its power and its financial value. The local population, once the keepers of ancient legends about sky gods, now finds itself the custodian of a modern global phenomenon. They have seen their ancestral stories repackaged for a worldwide audience, their remote mountain transformed into a destination for pilgrimage. The Baigong Pipes have achieved a unique status, existing simultaneously as a physical place, a scientific riddle, and a powerful cultural symbol, proving that some truths may be less important than the enduring stories we tell about them. Yet for every voice that speaks of gods and lost empires, another rises from the heart of the scientific establishment, grounded in the slow, patient logic of geology. These skeptical researchers see not a manufactured artifact, but a masterpiece of natural artistry, a perfect storm of geological processes that our pattern-seeking brains have misinterpreted. Their argument begins with a simple, powerful principle known as Occam's razor, the idea that the simplest explanation, the one requiring the fewest assumptions, is usually the correct one. In their view, the simplest explanation is that the Baigong Pipes were never built by anyone. They formed, just as a crystal grows or a canyon is carved, through the impersonal forces of chemistry and time. Geologists point to a well-documented phenomenon known as iron oxide concretion. Imagine mineral-rich water, heated by the Earth's core, forcing its way up through a network of deep fissures in the rock. This water is a chemical soup, saturated with dissolved iron and silica. As it moves through these cracks and encounters changes in pressure or temperature, the minerals begin to precipitate out of the solution. The iron oxide and silica slowly crystallize along the walls of the fissure, layer by microscopic layer, over countless millennia. The result is a hollow, tube-like structure that perfectly mirrors the original path of the water flow. This process naturally explains the high silicon dioxide content, as silica is one of the most common dissolved minerals in groundwater, and it accounts for the branching, dendritic patterns, which simply follow the pre-existing fracture lines in the rock. Think of it like the mineral equivalent of a stalactite forming in a cave, but happening inside a crack deep within a mountain. The so-called pyramid is similarly dismissed as a classic example of a natural geological formation known as a hoodoo or a weathered-in Selberg. Wind and water erosion over millions of years can sculpt sandstone into incredibly angular, pyramidal shapes, especially when the rock has natural horizontal layers of varying hardness that erode at different rates. The appearance of steps or terraces is a common feature in such formations, a purely natural consequence of differential erosion, not intelligent design. For the skeptic, the organized appearance of the pipe network is an illusion, a classic case of apophenia, where humans see meaningful patterns in random data. We are wired to find faces in clouds and animals in the stars, so when we see a line of similar-looking tubes, our brains immediately jump to the conclusion of a constructed system. But nature is full of repetition and symmetry, from the hexagonal columns of the Giant's Causeway to the perfect spirals of a nautilus shell. The trail to the lake is not a planned pipeline, but merely a coincidence, a mineralized fissure that happens to align with a modern body of water that may not have even existed when the pipes formed. The final, and perhaps most damning, point from the skeptical camp is the complete absence of any corroborating evidence that would be required for an industrial project. Where are the slag heaps from the smelting process, the tools, the workshops, the settlements for the workers, the roads for transporting materials? An advanced civilization leaves a massive archaeological footprint, a scattering of everyday debris that outlasts even the grandest monuments. The total silence surrounding the Baigong Pipes, the lack of any other artifact or sign of habitation, is the loudest argument in favor of a natural origin. The mystery, they conclude, is not in the mountain, but in our own desire for there to be one, a romantic longing for a past that is more extraordinary than the slow, magnificent, and entirely natural history of our planet. For these researchers, the chemical signature of the pipes is a deliberate blueprint, not a random recipe. They argue that a natural concretion would not consistently produce such a high, uniform percentage of silicon dioxide alongside the iron. This specific ratio, they insist, is the hallmark of a sophisticated smelting process, one designed to create a durable, corrosion-resistant alloy intentionally. The unknown 8% of the material is their smoking gun. In a natural geological formation, Every element present can be identified. It all comes from the Earth's own periodic table. The presence of a significant unidentifiable component points unmistakably toward an artificial origin, a manufactured material utilizing a technology or a knowledge of matter that we do not yet possess. These believers passionately critique the natural theory's greatest weakness, the organized layout. How can random mineral deposition create a system with parallel lines, logical branching, and a direct, purposeful trail to a specific body of water? They use a powerful analogy. Finding a single, perfectly shaped stone on a beach could be a fortunate accident of nature. But finding 100 such stones, all arranged to spell out a coherent sentence in a language you do not understand, is undeniable proof of intelligence. The Baigong network, they assert, is that sentence written in stone and metal. For those who support the lost civilization hypothesis, this is a tragic and magnificent clue. They see the pipes as a fragment of a global, pre-Diluvian world, a civilization so advanced and so ancient that its cities have long since turned to dust, erased by a planetary cataclysm. The pipes survived not because they were special, but because they were built to last, fused into the very bones of the Earth. This idea is not just about archaeology. It is about the fragility of human achievement and the haunting possibility that our own civilization is not the first to reach for the stars, but merely the latest to forget the lessons of those who came before. Other researchers find the ancient astronaut theory more compelling, seeing the site's remote location and technological isolation as key evidence. Why build something so advanced in a place so utterly inhospitable to human life? For them, the answer is clear. It was not built for humans. It was a way station, a mining operation, or a research outpost for beings who did not need arable land or a temperate climate. The local legends of sky gods are not myth, but a cultural memory of the actual builders. Their technology so advanced it was indistinguishable from magic or divinity to the nomadic tribes who witnessed it. The philosophical implications of their belief are profound. If they are correct, then human history is not a linear climb from primitivism to progress, but a story with missing volumes, perhaps even a story we are sharing with other authors. It means we are not alone in the universe, or we are not the first masters of this planet, or both. This is not merely an academic debate for them, it is a quest for a truth that could redefine humanity's place in the cosmos, and the rusting pipes on a lonely Chinese mountain are the first chapter of that new story. These rusted pipes leave us not with answers, but with a profound and haunting list of questions. The first and most technical mystery is that unknown 8% of the pipe's composition. Modern laboratories can identify nearly every element on the periodic table. So what is this ghost material that defies all categorization? Is it the signature of a lost alloy, a recipe for a supermetal from a forgotten age of technology? Or could its atomic structure be so alien that our science simply has no reference point for it? This unidentifiable sliver is a tangible clue that we are dealing with a science we do not yet understand. Then we confront the undeniable structure of the system itself. Why do the pipes form such a deliberate, organized network? If this is a random act of geology, why would mineral deposits create parallel lines, logical branches, and a straight, purposeful path directly to a saltwater lake? Nature is magnificent, but it rarely produces such clean, architectural symmetry without some form of guiding intelligence. The layout feels engineered, not accidental. This leads directly to the next great puzzle. If this is a natural formation, why is it so unique? Why are there not hundreds of other Baigong pipe networks around the world, displaying the same complex, interconnected design? Its singularity makes it an extreme outlier, a 1 in a billion anomaly that stands completely alone. But if it is artificial, that question becomes even more damning. Who built it and where is everything else? An industrial society capable of this would have needed mines, foundries, factories, and cities. It would have left a mountain of archaeological evidence behind, not just one solitary installation. The complete absence of any other trace, no tools, no pottery, no graves, is a silence that screams louder than any artifact. These are the unresolved threads that keep the enigma alive. The pipes are a locked door, and we are still fumbling for the key. left to wonder if the truth inside will rewrite our history or reveal a universe far stranger than we ever believed. The silence surrounding this mountain may not last much longer. A quiet but persistent shift is occurring, driven by new technology and a growing determination to solve this ancient puzzle. While major government excavations remain elusive, the last few years have seen a surge in sophisticated, privately funded surveys. Small teams equipped with advanced drones and high-resolution LiDAR, or light detection and ranging, scanners have been mapping the entire Mount Baigong area. This laser-based technology can peer through dense vegetation and even soil to create a three-dimensional map of the ground beneath our feet. These preliminary scans have already hinted at something astonishing. The pipe network is not just a surface feature. The LiDAR data suggests the tubes extend far deeper into the mountain than anyone previously suspected, potentially connecting to large, hollow chambers buried deep within the bedrock. This finding completely redefines the scale of the site. We are no longer looking at a single installation, but possibly at the tip of a vast subterranean complex. The pyramid structure itself, when scanned, shows internal density anomalies that do not match solid rock, hinting at rooms or passages now filled with sediment and time. The next logical step, and the dream of every investigator, is a full-scale ground-penetrating radar survey. This technology sends radio waves into the Earth and reads the echoes to build a detailed picture of buried structures, much like an ultrasound for the ground. A comprehensive GPR survey could finally map the entire hidden network, revealing the true extent of the pipes and pinpointing the exact locations of those subterranean chambers for future excavation. Imagine being able to see a complete blueprint of the entire system, to know where every pipe leads and what lies at its end. This is no longer science fiction, it is a tangible goal for the next expedition. The material science is also poised for a breakthrough. The core samples taken decades ago were analyzed with the technology of their time. Today, we have tools like scanning electron microscopes and mass spectrometers that are thousands of times more sensitive. A new, uncontaminated sample, analyzed with this modern equipment, could finally crack the code of that mysterious 8%. Scientists could not only identify its elemental makeup, but also understand its crystalline structure, revealing whether it was forged in a terrestrial furnace or possesses properties that are truly out of this world. The biggest question remains, will there ever be an official, international mission? The political and logistical barriers are still high, but the global fascination with this mystery is a powerful force. As public interest grows and imaging technology provides ever more compelling evidence of what lies beneath, the pressure for a transparent, scientific investigation will become difficult to ignore. We stand on the threshold of a new era of discovery. The secret of the Baigong Pipes, guarded by a remote mountain for what may be millennia, is now within reach of our 21st century tools. The coming years could deliver the answers we have been seeking for decades, finally revealing whether we are the first masters of this planet, or merely the latest to inherit its ancient, rusting wonders. The evidence for each theory forms a towering, contradictory mountain range. On one side, geology offers iron oxide concretions, a natural process that elegantly explains the chemical composition and the tube-like forms, grounding the mystery in the known, slow work of the Earth. Its greatest strength is its simplicity, requiring no lost civilizations or alien visitors. Yet this explanation strains to account for the system's organized layout, the straight pipeline to the lake, and that confounding 8% of unidentifiable material. Nature is a master of beautiful chaos, not of clean, parallel engineering. The lost civilization hypothesis captures our imagination with the tragic romance of a world before our own, a society brilliant enough to forge such pipes, but doomed to vanish without a trace. This theory's power is its narrative resonance, echoing flood myths from countless cultures. Its fatal flaw is the profound, echoing silence that surrounds it. An industrial society leaves behind more than one project. It leaves a planet-wide scattering of its trash, its tools, and its bones. Not a single shard of pottery or foundation stone from this mother culture has ever been found near Mount Baigong. Then we have the ancient astronaut theory, which seamlessly explains the impossible age, the remote location, and the technological leap. It turns the local legends of sky gods from myth into potential eyewitness accounts. But this idea rests on the grandest assumption of all, that intelligent beings crossed the cosmos to build a plumbing system on a remote mountain, leaving behind no other definitive proof of their visit. Each theory answers some questions perfectly while creating staggering new ones. So where does the balance of probability lie? If we weigh the evidence purely on what we can physically test, the geological explanation holds a strong, skeptical appeal. But the moment we factor in the system's deliberate design and the anomalous material, the scales tip dramatically toward an intelligent, non-human origin. The pipes do not feel like a human construction because they exist in a total historical vacuum. They feel like something else entirely, a piece of machinery that was installed here for a purpose we can no longer comprehend. Absolute certainty remains locked away in the mountain, waiting for the one piece of evidence that could shatter every existing theory and force us to write a new history from scratch. Perhaps the greatest legacy of the Baigong Pipes is not the mystery they present, but the profound sense of wonder they ignite within us. We are drawn to such enigmas not because we demand easy answers, but because we crave the questions that stretch the boundaries of our understanding. These rusted conduits, silent for eons, speak directly to a fundamental human impulse, the insatiable need to explore, to discover, and to believe that the world still holds secrets grand enough to rewrite our own story. They are a physical reminder that our maps of history are still incomplete, with blank spaces that whisper of possibilities far stranger and more wonderful than any fiction. This is the true power of an unsolved puzzle. It invites us to participate, to become detectives of the past, to look at a lonely mountain and dare to ask, what if? The story does not end here, with the evidence weighed and the theories laid bare. It continues with you. What do you believe created these impossible pipes? Share your own thoughts and theories in the comments below. We would love to hear your perspective and continue this conversation. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, subscribe for more deep dives into history's greatest mysteries. Never stop questioning the world around you, for the next great discovery is always waiting, just beyond the edge of the known.